friends, welcome to Music Nation Speaks, where we talk about our music journey, the impact of music in our lives, and also a little bit about the current music industry. And today we have Samantha de Lune. Do I say de Lune?
That's right.
Yeah. Samantha de Lune. Okay, so let's get right into it, right? How did you get into music?
That's actually I have a pretty interesting answer, I would think. So, I think I was out of high school after SPM. This was before I knew what my results were gonna be like. Was never into academics.
Yeah.
And then my dad was like, "Hey, you don't like to study one, right? Why don't you go and study music? No need to study one."
That's what he said?
Yeah.
For an Asian dad.
I know. That's
Wow.
why I said it's really interesting. I think in a way it was like music has always been my dad's dream. So he was kind of like living vicariously through whoever he could.
Through you.
Yep. And I was like, oh, okay, no need to study. Okay, can.
So you started only actually after SPM?
I mean, I did like piano lessons like every other Chinese kid, right? But of course, I never gave it much thought. I never thought that anything was gonna come of it.
Right.
Yeah. So only until then, when my dad suggested it, then I was like, if you say no need to study, then I think can.
Okay.
What a lie.
Okay, so that leads to another question, which I'll ask later. So where did you... Was it ICOM straight away after SPM?
I think we looked at a couple of places. So there was UCSI, of course, because we went to an education fair in Mid Valley or something like that. And back then I was still like, I didn't know whether I really wanted to do music. So I was like, okay, if you want me to do music, maybe I'll consider something like audio engineering.
Okay.
I mean, whatever I thought was cooler than studying music, you know. And we saw UCSI, then there was also this Malaysian Institute of Arts or something, MIA.
Yes.
So there was that. And then we came across the ICOM booth. And I don't know how we came to a decision. I think it was because of the Berkeley transfer program that we were really attracted to.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, I think, let's go with this.
Yeah. And a little bit of can you give us a little bit of your experience in ICOM?
I feel like I don't really want to go there.
Okay. But I mean, music-wise, do you think that the people that you've met in school and also the teachers, I think, do they help you like develop who you are? Because did you know that you wanted to be a singer then?
I didn't. I mean, because I went in as a piano major.
Huh?
Yeah, I did.
What?
My first semester, I was a piano major. And because I was a classical pianist before that. And so I went in as first sem and I was really confident because everyone always told me you play piano so well, you're so special. And I was like, okay. And I went to college and it's contemporary music, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what is this 7 on top of the C major chord? What is this?
Yeah.
And okay, now that I find out what the 7 is, I play C, E, G, and then the 7, and then they're like, voice it properly. I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? So I think it was midway through the semester that I just decided, you know what, I need to do something simpler. Not because I don't like this, but because I really think I'm not cut out for this. Yeah.
And that's when you transition into...
And that's when I thought to myself, it might sound a bit shallow, but I was like, if I chose another instrument like guitar or whatever, I would still need to play chords and need to. So I was like, what can I do that, you know, doesn't require me to know so much? And I was like, oh, voice, I think let's try.
But then you have, in my head, you were always a voice major because that's all I've heard.
I think because when you came in, I was already a voice major. Yeah. So I switched in the second sem. I failed my piano PI on purpose.
On purpose?
Just to prove a point because my parents didn't want me to switch across. They felt like singers cannot make money one lah, cause at least piano you can teach if anything, if
If
other
all
things
else
don't work
fails.
out. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So then I was like, okay. So I didn't attend my PI exam. I was sitting on the first floor, just waiting for time to pass to miss it, just to prove a point.
I see.
Yeah, I had my rebellious day.
And did it work?
Well, I mean, I got a degree with the boys, so.
True, true. Okay. So during so after how long did you spend again in Icon?
I think, because I got held back a couple semesters, so I think
Ah.
I spent about 5 years there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Like so a little bit about um um studying in a music college lah. I think for me, I think I learned the most not from school, but from when I go out to watch gigs and things like that. So how was it like for you? And yeah, so how was it like for you?
I think most people would agree with you on that, because I mean the school is really small, so there's only so much that can go around before
Yeah.
it's very recycled. A lot of things are very recycled.
Yes.
And I think most performing musicians would probably have the same experience, where you actually learn the most when you go out and watch actual working musicians
Yeah.
work and do their thing,
Yeah.
and then slowly try not to be so shy and ashamed, and go up to them and learn to network a little bit. And I think without that, like, a lot of us would not have had a career in like performance.
True.
Yeah.
Without knowing the ones who are already doing it. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much the only way to break out into it. As a working musician, maybe
Right.
as a singer-songwriter, then it's a little bit different.
Different,
Yeah.
Yep, yep. Like, I remember last time, like when we were going out. Remember Narrow Fico?
Oh yes. Actually, I really love that place.
Me
I'm quite
too.
sad that it stopped.
What happened, huh?
I don't know. They just closed down and they changed
Yeah.
into a different joint.
Oh my god, I remember like so from Kuantan, a small town with like just Chinese pop and like English oldies, right? To like Icon and then to Narrow Fico. I was like, the music, what is this? I couldn't understand anything.
Me neither. I think I had the same experience where like
Right.
someone would take a really long solo.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, okay.
And then?
when it stops, then people clap and then oh now okay. Let's clap.
I feel like it's the same situation where you're watching MPO and then they might finish a movement, but you think it's done, So we just
Yeah.
like, is it?
Oh wait, but there's another one.
Yeah. So we're just like, what? So yeah, where do you usually go like when you were in school like?
I think during that time when my first semester, there was still this place called Urban Attic. So that was in Cap Square, KL, but it closed down shortly after. Then there was also Bangkok Jazz and Groove Junction, which was in Hartamas. It was like at the corner shop where the Bak Kut Teh shop is now.
Huh?
Yeah,
Behind me,
so there was that's right. So upstairs at the corner, there used to be this place called Groove Junction, and that was where a lot of I guess, back then I would probably call them like jazz fusion bands. I don't know what to label them now, but that's where you go to check out the non-pop scene lah, basically.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of music did you grow up with? Yeah.
I think it's quite a wide variety, because my dad was like a huge music fan, obviously, and he would kind of force us and sit us down to watch like a Bee Gees, those laser discs. They're huge. Yeah. So we had like laser disc like concerts like Bee Gees and Earth, Wind and Fire and Dave Grusin. So that it's very rojak lah, I would say.
Wow, but mostly is it mostly Western music?
Mostly Western music, yes, but there was also like Jackie Cheung and things like that, obviously.
Yeah, the oldies.
Yeah,
like,
but mostly Western music. Yeah, I think my dad was really into that whole like groove kind of.
that's
Yeah,
so nice.
I don't think he really he doesn't understand it the way we understand it now, of course,
Right.
but he just really enjoyed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Something spoke to his soul. Okay, and because from what I've heard you sing, right,
Mhm.
it's quite opposite, and we were talking about it just now also, right? So like ballads versus like groovy stuff and things like
Mhm.
that. Did you know that that when did you find your voice, and when did you realize that you are suitable for some songs and not others?
I think that's gonna be like a really long answer.
It's okay, take your time.
Because
Yeah.
I think as a child, obviously we all wanted to be Ariel from The Little Mermaid, so we all sang Part of Your World. That's probably the first song I ever sang at like 5 or 6 years old.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it's quite interesting because I remember my dad saying that at 5 or 6 he realized, hey, this girl has a vibrato, and of course I wouldn't know what it was
Right.
back then, right?
Right.
So I actually continued just singing for fun, casually, karaokeing at home until
Right.
I was about 10 or 11.
Oh.
So there was one day when we went to a karaoke for one of my cousin's birthdays, and I was singing like the entire night,
Yeah.
and then I was tired, obviously, and
Yeah.
I cracked on a really high note. And that was the first time my voice had ever cracked, right? And so I was really, really embarrassed,
Right,
and I
right,
stopped singing
After
from
that?
then until I went to college.
Oh no.
But to answer your question,
Yeah.
so I've always kind of known that I wanted to be this Disney princess lah,
Yeah.
and naturally that ballads, that would be the kind of thing that
Right.
you would go for.
Right.
But I think realizing that my voice or my personality or my style is more suited to that took many years of doing gigs to actually really find where my sound belongs. I think we're all still searching. I still am as well.
Yes.
But yeah, it took me a while because I started with like doing like pub gigs as well, and then slowly from there I realized, oh wait, I don't think this is working.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so many questions I want to ask. Okay, so you meant from from doing ballads and things like that, and also from experimenting different kinds of sound. What is the biggest challenges that you faced, or were there any like, I cannot sing this song. Why? Do I suck? You know, that kind of feeling. Because I definitely had that. I was like, why people can sing, I cannot sing. You know, like why does it sound so different? Yeah. How was it like for you?
I think it'll be very worrying if you don't have moments like that. I went through a lot of that, I have to say, because like I said, I started doing pub gigs,
Right.
and obviously that's the most natural path to trying to break into the gigging scene.
Yeah.
And so I remember I've always leaned towards ballads, not just because I like them, that's one thing, but also because I feel like my voice, my temper doesn't carry more heavier stuff so well. Yeah, and so every time I would do a pub gig, I would always get the same comment. Can you do something more upbeat? Can you like, play more of this, more of that, and like don't play so many slow songs.
Yeah.
And so I felt really discouraged for I think a really long time, because
Yeah.
I felt like there was no space or no place for the kind of things that I want to do, or at least what I think I can do on a decent level. Yeah. So that was quite a struggle, and I really felt like maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe this is not the right place for me. I don't know. Yeah.
Is that why you stopped gigging for a while? I remember.
I fall in and out of gigging quite often. I mean, like I battle with myself a lot.
Why?
About this.
Why? Do
I
tell.
mean,
Yeah.
previously it was because obviously I didn't find my place. I haven't found my sound.
Yeah.
And so I was very conflicted about whether or not I wanted to put myself out there and in my mind put myself out there and fall again and again before I find what works for me.
Yeah.
So that took a really long time.
But eventually, I think something happened.
Michael Virapan happened.
Yes, someone happened. Yeah.
I cannot put into words what it means to me that when I finally started playing with Michael, it was I remember the first gig that I did with him, he didn't even ask me personally. He got Steve to message me on Facebook, Steve Nanda,
Yeah,
Michael's
yeah.
drummer, to message me on Facebook and ask me if I was interested to do a gig with Michael, and I freaked out, obviously. I mean, Michael has this reputation, okay, where he's like, he has an iron fist and he's just, you don't want to. And so I
Screw it
remember
up.
I was texting so many other like more seniors,
Yeah.
singers,
Yep.
vocalists. I'm not gonna name, but I was
Yeah.
texting everyone and just going, this just happened, like what should I do? Should I take the gig?
Right.
Some of them were like, just try, you never know. Some was
Right.
like, oh, just be prepared for him to, like, you know, scream at you and things like that.
Right.
But I think thankfully I took the gig.
Yes.
Thankfully, imagine if I didn't.
Oh no.
I probably never would have found my place. So
Right.
it's really, really fortunate that I decided to just try.
Right. What
Yeah.
what initially what put you off from working with like someone as established as Michael Verhoeven?
I think it's just fear. That was it.
Fear of what? Like
Fear of not performing up to expectations. You know, fear of letting people and also letting myself down. I think that's very common because as a vocalist, your voice, your style, your diction, everything it's internal. It's not an instrument that you can take out and put down.
and
you know?
press.
Correct, exactly. Especially with your voice and your timbre, you
Yes.
pretty much cannot change.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's very personal. It can be very personal if you choose to take it that way.
Right, right. And then it's like it might not sometimes when we sing something it might sound good to this person but it might not be pleasant to the other person.
Yeah.
And both is right because it's their perception and
Correct.
their thing, right?
Yeah.
Because how do you change like, oh, I think her voice is too thick, or I think her voice is too thin. You cannot
You
change.
cannot.
Yeah, yeah. So how was it working? How was it like working with Michael?
I mean, after the first rehearsal, I think I realized that a lot that people say about him is not entirely true. It's like he was actually really, really nice, like really nice. A bit too nice that I was also feeling like, is he being sarcastic? I'm not entirely sure.
From the first rehearsal.
No, he was really nice, yeah, just really chill lah. And like I think the moment we started the rehearsal when the band played together, it was very magical for me. Because
In what way?
I've always struggled with, because my timbre is a bit in the mid range, I would say.
Yeah.
It's a bit low, so I've always had trouble cutting through on with a big or a loud band.
Yeah.
And I've never really found a band that can work around my voice. Yeah, so I'm always trying to catch up to the band rather than the band trying to tone down to me.
Right, the dynamic wise, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
And so for me, like the moment they started a rehearsal, like the intro of the first song, it was just so like, it was very overwhelming, but I was just trying to hold it together.
Don't cry.
Yeah.
Sing.
And obviously we rehearsed in a home studio, so there was no mics for me.
Oh.
Yeah, and I could hear myself like loud and clear.
right.
It was just such a strange experience.
right.
From having a mic and screaming and not being able to hear anything,
Right.
to coming down to this and then having no mic at all.
Right.
They're playing like with proper drums and I can hear everything clearly. Yeah, so I think that's when I realized, like, I think I hit the jackpot.
Right. And like everything just clicks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of music were you guys playing then?
I think for a start we played a lot of standards, like American songbook stuff. We still do a lot of that. It's very enjoyable, but now of course we try to do more standards that maybe people don't play as much, or instrumentalists always play but vocalists don't always try. Just challenges lah. Because we've also worked together for a few years now. It's about time to push the boundaries a little bit.
Right. Explore something new, right?
Yeah.
And how is this experience compared to maybe when you first started out?
I don't think there's even a way to compare it.
Yeah.
It's like two different worlds. It's so different. Because here, I mean, with dynamics is one thing. Then here I feel like Michael allows and also encourages me to, in a way, like express, because everything is very personal. So the
Yes.
song is supposed to be very personal, because
Right.
singing is, it's not about having a pretty voice or
Yes.
looking good on stage. It's pretty much storytelling
Yes.
through music, through a
Thank
song.
you.
And I think that's another thing I've always struggled with until I found Michael. Until Michael found me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the techniques that maybe or some hints or some cues that he would ask you to try or do? Because him being a pianist, it's very maybe his approach is very different. But for singers, it's like, maybe I want you to make this clearer or da 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 da. Like, how do you guys communicate?
Michael's he's very relaxed when it comes to things like this. Like most of the time I think he allows whatever comes naturally to just happen. But sometimes when there are certain things that maybe he's not feeling it, he'll just let me know that I think this part maybe you need to really mean it. Maybe if you can't hit the notes, then it's not about the notes. It's no point hitting the notes if the meaning, the story doesn't come out, the expression doesn't come out. So if you have to change the notes, then change the notes. As long as your story doesn't break the story.
Right.
Yeah. Or it doesn't hide the story.
Right.
Yeah.
And the core of it is the message,
the song, yeah.
Yes,
the story pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I'm doing something right. Because a lot of times, like when I teach, right, a lot of my students are like, oh, how do I sing this high note? How do I, like go really, really low? How do I make this, like, am I supposed to be loud here? Am I supposed to be soft here? That kind of thing. And I think that is, having technique is good, but if you don't have the understanding of the song that you're singing first, that is, everything else is secondary.
I agree, yeah, completely.
Right? But at the same time, it's like, I cannot teach a 5-year-old, like, okay, the guy just broke your heart, so you have to be really sad. So there are some
yeah, I'm sure challenges lah. I mean, it's a curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of teaching?
I've tried before. So I taught for a little while, for a couple of months. This was this was quite a few years ago when I was still struggling for money.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
So I tried it, and I mean, I've always known that I'm not cut out for teaching, because I don't have the patience.
Okay.
And secondly, I feel like I'm a bit of a blind person leading other blind people, because I'm not very technical when it comes to like vocal techniques.
But you sound so good though. Like, it sounds.
I tried, thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm not very technical. I don't really know or understand what's actually happening when the sound comes out, or what I'm supposed to feel. Like, I don't know these things.
Right.
So in a way, I mean, most students are very casual. They come and go.
Yeah.
But I was always very afraid that someone, like a kid, would come who might turn out to be someone, and I might ruin that for him or her.
Right.
Because to learn wrong things is one thing, but to unlearn it later on is really, really difficult. So I didn't want to be that person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. To contribute to their mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and as you get older, it's so hard. It's really, really hard.
True. Like, it's a lot of responsibility, and also, like, when I had to relearn some stuff, it's like, oh, you breathe like this. Oh, you can use your voice like this. Sure. I didn't know. Yeah. So after, like, would you say that ICOM is your only formal voice training place?
I mean, technically, if you think about it, it was never really formal voice training either. But I mean, technically speaking, yes.
Yeah. Technically speaking, institutionally.
I'm supposed to start taking voice lessons like now. But
with who?
I have like a really good friend, Aizan. I don't know if you've met him.
No.
Oh, you should listen to him. I do gigs with him sometimes. He's just like,
let me know
he buries me lah in the gig when I sing with him.
In what way?
He's so good. Because he's classically trained, but he's also, his musicality is great. So he's not like very rigid,
right?
Because a lot of classically trained people are a bit more towards that side.
Yep.
So he's a lot more open about like learning new things and stuff like that. So he's evolved quite a bit from his classical background.
Right, from his foundation.
But now he can sing things and have no limit because his technical stuff is just so solid.
Right?
Yeah, so I really should start taking lessons from
Let me
him.
know when you're going.
For the longevity of my career.
Right. And
Yeah.
speaking of longevity, how do you take care of your voice? I'm still struggling with it. Like, yeah.
I think the only thing I can think of is just sleeping properly. That's so important. I'm really bad with it as well. I'm
Right.
trying to work on it. It's
Right,
not
right.
going so well.
Scream!
Blue
Yeah.
light.
Yeah. Two blue lights.
But yeah, I think sleep, it's the one factor that I've actually felt effects from if I don't get proper sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because other things, I think I'm quite lucky that I don't get like I can eat pretty much what I want and go and sing. It's okay most of the time.
So lucky.
Yeah, but sleep is super important. Like if I don't sleep enough
Yeah.
a day or 2 days before, then I will have a bit less control of like my voice when I'm singing. Yeah, I can actually feel it, but I can't do anything about it.
Right. It's like a bit tight, right?
Yeah,
Don't you
it's sort of
feel?
like tight. Then I can't control my vibrato, and then I can't hold the notes long.
Right. Wow. Okay. I should look into that as well. But sometimes it's like you get carried away and then you go watch a gig and then you're like, oh shoot, I have a gig in 2 days. And then I stay up till like 4 a.m.
Yep.
You know? Do you still go? Do you still watch gigs?
I'm guilty of not doing this often enough. I mean, I really want to, but like time is very limited now for
Yes.
me. Obviously, I can and I should learn to manage my time a bit better. We all
Don't
should.
we all?
But ideally, I want to start
Mm.
at least going out and catching new things, new acts, and
Jump.
revisiting old friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
We should make a commitment at least once or twice a month.
Yeah. Yes. Otherwise, it's like I think for when I first came home, like the first 2 months, it was like because I have nothing to do, right? So gig lah, go every night. And when I started school, when I started teaching and everything, I disappeared for like 6 months straight. So it was just like, who am I?
I completely understand that because like
Yeah.
I think I've disappeared for 1.5 to 2 years, so I understand that.
Right. That's
Yeah.
why I see you like you climb mostly now. So I'm like,
Because I have a day job, so
yes.
yeah, I work Mondays to Saturdays from 9 to 7. So I only have the night time. And obviously at 28, my metabolism's not doing so well anymore. So whatever precious time from 8 to 11 that I have,
Yeah.
I gotta choose wisely what I want to do lah.
Right.
Yeah.
Invest your time in the things. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And so speaking of day jobs, right? I know I've asked you this just now. Like, how? Okay, just this is from my experience, because I don't use gigging as my main source of income. So whenever I do gig, I feel really happy, no matter what it is now. Like there are some gigs that I'm like, I cannot sing pop songs the whole way to like I cannot. But whenever I do get a chance to sing or like be on stage, I'm really happy. So I think that has to do with the mindset of like, oh, this is not work. This is just a plus
Yeah.
of doing music.
Like a
And
bonus.
yeah, and I get to like do what I preach basically, But so how is it like for you that your day job is not related to music at all, but when you do gig, it's like how does it affect you?
I was actually going to say the exact same thing that you
Oh,
just
yeah?
said. Yeah, because now that when in any field, when you rely on something you like or something you're passionate about for income, it really changes a lot of things. Then there will always come days where you have work and you have a gig and you maybe just really don't feel like doing it, but you have to because you rely on it for money.
Yeah.
Whereas now I think similarly to you, I always feel, most of the time I feel very happy when I get to sing, because a lot of times I'm just dying to sing again. I don't know when the next time is coming, because time is very limited once again.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that is that I realized is having a day job gives me financial stability,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
it's so nice to not have to rely on gigging for income.
Right.
So then singing becomes a bonus, and the money you make becomes a bonus as well.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that I really like is because of the financial stability, I can pick and choose the gigs I want to do.
True.
I don't have to take jobs just because I really need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just for the sake of
Yeah. So I think having the freedom to make these choices is really, really nice. Like it
Right.
really makes every experience, every time I sing, a lot more meaningful in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. So do you I need to slow down when I speak, because I'm like trying to shoot questions at you.
You
in
can
my
write
head.
it down if it.
Yeah, I should. Yeah. So when you were doing, do you do a lot of corporate gigs?
Mostly actually corporate gigs. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't do as much public shows.
Right.
But then again, that's also I think because, like I said, I wouldn't call it scene. Like the things that I do, the material that I do,
Yeah.
there aren't a lot of venues in KL that
Yeah.
really works for those things.
Right.
So my options are quite limited, and I can only sing at Bobo or Alexis that many times in a year before they're like, enough, let's wait for next year.
The quota is up.
We had enough of you.
We have enough of jazz, or
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
So there's always that struggle for me, even though I want to do more public shows.
Right.
It's a bit limited in that sense. Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, when I looked at that the camera and the light wasn't on, what kind of singer do you think people see you as, or do you think that you are, like based on genre?
I think I get labeled a lot as a jazz singer, even though I don't entirely agree with it.
Why?
Not because I don't like it, but because I feel very undeserving of it. I don't think I'm a jazz singer per se. I mean, I'm a singer who sings standards.
Okay.
Jazz standards.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm definitely not in the league of a jazz singer.
I understand.
Yeah, but of course to the general public, they don't know these things.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know the technicalities behind it, and I'm just like,
Right.
don't call me a jazz singer. I cannot.
So witchy, that kind of feeling, right?
Don't put that kind of pressure on me.
But does it make you want to like dive deeper into it, or it's just not really your thing?
I'm a bit torn about it actually.
Ah.
I feel like I'm very like my attention span is so short that I want to try so many things.
Right. Like what?
Like lately, my last few gigs, I've played with a new band, not Michael's band, because I wanted to. Basically, I had this goal that I was going to sing songs that I've always wanted to perform, but I never got to. So I did like U2 and John McLaughlin. Yeah, and more like Robbie Williams and like things like that I've always liked and always loved, but never really got to sing.
Right.
So there's that now. I'm still trying to do that. That's still a really steep learning curve for me because vocally it's quite challenging for me. Yeah, but lately I've also been looking into more. I don't know whether you consider jazz, maybe fusion. I don't know. It's like Tanya Maria and stuff like that. Yeah. So I've always had this goal that I want to cover Yatrata.
Okay. How does it go?
It's like a scat song the whole way.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so see, it's not going so well, so I haven't done it yet.
But you do have some goals, like that
Yeah.
you want to reach vocally.
For me, it's always just like songs. I want to be able to do this. Like if there's a song that maybe the range is really big, I
Right.
want to tackle this one day.
Yeah.
Or if I cannot scat, so I want to do Yatrata one day because
Wow.
yeah, things like that. But it's taking a bit some time. It's taking some time.
Yes. I keep telling myself, okay, maybe I should, like, I should try, learning some licks here and there so that I can, when if I really do need to scat, I can, because I'm not.
I cannot at all.
No,
So
me
I really
neither.
cannot. I've told Michael before. I said like, I really want to learn to scat.
Yeah.
And
What did he say?
No need what.
No need what?
He said just focus on whatever you're doing.
Ah.
And I also asked him to teach me piano.
Ah.
And he's like, no need, just focus on whatever it is you're doing. Do it right, do it well first. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Yep, he has a point.
And he sees the potential in you, and he tells it to you straight. Right?
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It was so lucky, so lucky.
So, speaking of telling to you straight, what this is again my experience. Our education here, it's very how do you call it? Very not very, but it's more of like what the teacher says you do. There's not really a lot of room for questioning or for experimenting, right, and exploring. But when I was in Boston, like there were guidelines. There were no specific tasks, right? So I was like, oh, what? And then teacher, like my PI classes are like, okay, you do this song. I'm like, oh, okay. Am I supposed to do this like that? Da, 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 da. Like, are there any skills that you want me to do beforehand? Da, 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 da. They're like, no, just do you. And then when I came back next week sounding like the record, right? They were like, I don't hear Joe in this. Where is Joe? I was like, that kind of thing. That at least they tell it to you straight, and they appreciate your uniqueness. How do you find that? Do we apply that here enough? And if not, or if so, like, how can we balance that? I think.
I feel like this is very different individual to individual. I mean, of course, in any field, you'll always have people who are on this end and then people on the other end of the spectrum. But I think generally, because we are very Asian, we're very conservative, right? So people don't take criticism, even if it's constructive, very well. And so other people also then try to be diplomatic and politically correct and not hurt anyone's feelings because they just don't want to have to deal with someone's hurt feelings, and
The consequences.
it's very difficult. It's a tough topic, I think, because there's
Sorry. Yeah, go for it.
if someone is already that sensitive to it and they're not gonna accept it the way you meant,
Right.
then sometimes there really is no point, rather than go for it and sever the relationship. And I think it's very tricky.
Okay.
So I think from person to person it's very different, and it's probably best to find out what the person is like before you
go up.
Correct. But personally I don't mind, like, if you have feedback, give it to me, I'm okay,
Right.
because it's not personal to me.
Yes.
Yeah, and if it is, then it's too bad for you that you choose to attack me like
Personally,
that. It's completely fine with me. It's alright. Yeah.
Like, shame on you. Yeah, but and I think a lot of times, especially students now, I think, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Like when they say like your voice for this song is like da 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 da, and then I would get really really hurt back then, because like I thought that they were attacking me. They were saying that I am not good.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Which I was kind of shit back then. But and then I realized that the comment is, if they didn't care, or even if they meant it kind of nastily, if they didn't care enough, they wouldn't tell you like their thoughts and things like that. So to take it and to decipher it how I want, it's entirely up to me. And then, like you said, not take it personally. That's one thing that
I mean that there are always going to be people who mean well for you and sometimes may not word it correctly.
Yes.
Right. But as long as the intentions are good, then
Yes.
yeah. But there are also always going to be people who sometimes just say things for the sake of saying
Same
it.
thing.
But that's okay because that mostly just, it doesn't reflect on you.
Right.
You know, it's fine. Yeah.
Right. But you're okay lah, like when.
I think I've just gotten past it. So previously,
Yeah.
maybe a few years ago, I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I would feel very, I wouldn't feel hurt, but I think I
Mm.
just feel really intimidated. Then the next time I go on stage, I'll be like shaking. I will be, you know, I feel like people are watching and
Right.
this person is judging. Last time he said this to me.
Ah.
Yeah, but now I've just gotten past it.
Right. What made you got, like, what kind of mentality did you have to like achieve to get past?
I think it's a combination of a few things. I mean, experience is one because you go on stage and you do it again and again and again. After a while, it's just, you know,
Yeah.
you're very comfortable already.
Yeah.
I mean, being comfortable has its own problems if you get complacent.
Yes.
Yeah, but apart from that, I think just working with Michael and having his reassurance, even if it's not him outright saying it to me, knowing that the band has my back
Yeah.
and nothing can go too wrong because they'll always follow and they'll always have my back. I think that's really, really important.
Right. The sense of security is
Yeah.
there.
But my sense of security is still, I'm still working on it because I'm not so great with adapting to new bands. So when I work with new people, I always feel like unsure and I don't know if they have my back. Then
Right.
I become a bit insecure and then it kind of shows during your
And-
performance. So that's something I'm still trying to work on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it helping?
I think with age, you become a bit more sure of yourself. And I think that really helps because you know that I know that I can afford to fail and it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But then it's like, I have to do this well. I have to do this
Correct,
well.
because you're still trying to break into the scene, right? So
Yes.
now I'm a bit more relaxed in that sense.
Right. And it's so stressful in hindsight, you know? It's
It is.
like you, first of all, okay, when people are first coming up, unless you, there are a few exceptions where a few people already have has it, you know, where they just like, okay, boom, like I can do this
Yeah.
really, really well. But and they're really good at what they're doing. But for people who are still searching their sound, we will fail, and at the same time trying to make money, at the
Yup.
same time trying to perform, and you know,
Yeah.
that whole pressure is like,
Yeah, it can get very overwhelming. I sort of remember what that felt like. I don't anymore, but I kind of, yeah.
Right. And now it's like, so what? Like if you missed a note, or if you went out of tune, or missed
Yeah,
something.
it's mostly just a passing moment. I mean, unless you have it on recording, then that's a different story. But that's also okay because ultimately, I think I just see it as at least I'm trying something.
New. Yeah. At least you're trying something.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise, I mean, I can do the jazz standards that I've done over the past 3-4 years, and it's already close to perfect because nothing can go wrong, you know.
Right.
But then that kind of defeats the purpose of. I mean, music is also about your growth, right?
Right.
So it's no point if you're not growing in that sense. Yeah, and
True.
there's so many young kids nowadays coming up, and if you don't evolve and you don't grow,
Right.
you're just gonna get left behind.
So speaking of upcoming musicians, right,
Mhm.
or upcoming artists, what do you think of the sound that we have now in Malaysia? Like for me, I feel like we've been a little bit stagnant. There are a lot of music coming
Mhm.
in, and a lot of artists popping up, and also musicians. Do you listen to Malaysia, like
Not enough.
me too, I'm guilty of it, it's okay. So yeah, like then back to what you were saying on have to keep learning, like
Mhm.
do you have any maybe tips or what you went through in your experience that will help others?
I don't feel like I can be giving tips because I'm not so great at it myself. I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
I
But what has
think
helped you?
we are all very guilty of becoming complacent. That's pretty normal. But I mean, I guess for me it's just important to remember that every generation of musicians or artists or whatever, every new generation will always know everything you already know,
Yeah.
and one more thing that is new that
Yes.
that now they are creating that
Right.
you don't know
Right.
unless you make the effort
to get to know it.
correct.
Yeah.
And I think it's some musicians I feel can be quite purists per se. They don't really want to go there and learn new things because they're like, oh, it's crap, like electronic music is crap. I mean, I might not be the biggest fan, but it is what it is. It's what works now.
Yes.
You know, so whether you want to stay relevant or not, then it's your choice. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Because everything that you know, they have the resources to find out from you, from the internet, from so they
way
already
back
know, and then they
when.
know extra things that you don't. So how do you keep up if you don't go and try? You
True.
know? Yeah.
True. And I'm very guilty of it. Like when mumble rap came out, I was like, what is this? I can't.
what?
Mumble rap?
I
You know,
oh boy.
like what they do like no, like the triplet stuff, and then
Okay.
it's just like everything in the mouth, like you.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I think it's a trend, but I think it's slowly dying down a little bit. Yeah, but when it first came out, I was just like, I cannot accept this. And then I was only like what 23, 24 when it was like really blowing up. I was like, this is not for me. Now I understand why, how my teachers felt, and things like that. So I was like, and then when Cardi B came, I was like, okay, this is still acceptable. This is like in between. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's okay to decide that it's not your thing, but don't discount it. I think that's just as simple as that. Yeah. Acknowledge that it's happening. Maybe you don't like it, that's okay, but try not to discount it, I suppose. I mean, I'm quite guilty of it as well. Sometimes I listen to something, I'm like, oh, what is this?
Yeah. What are you young people doing these days?
That's not music, but music is such a subjective thing.
True.
You know, anything can be music, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we go into one of those?
Sure.
I need to find more questions. I think I dropped some on the way, like to like
Oh,
place
no.
it. Okay, hold on. Okay, pick one.
Okay. I'm kind of nervous lah.
For the question?
What? Oh boy, what is your motto in life? I don't know whether I should be brutally honest about this. I'm a Chinese girl. My motto in life is to make money.
That's good. We need money to survive.
We do. I think for me, my motto in life is just to be financially free, like to have economic freedom, to pick and choose what gigs I want to do, go on a holiday if I want to, and just generally not have to worry about money. I think that's super important. And I think that as musicians, a lot of us struggle with that.
Some months are good, some months aren't good, and then also like, and it's harder for. I don't want this to sound like an excuse, but it is harder for us to get a house or like get a car, you know, like the inflation and everything, and then man.
But honestly, if I may say this, I was having this conversation with a couple of other musicians. I don't know if you know Dennis, keyboardist, Dennis, and Wing White, the saxophonist. So we were talking about money basically as musicians, right? And actually, if you look, I believe this is quite across the board. If you look at our annual income, even though it's inconsistent month to month, we actually make a decent amount of money.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, not a lot of people can go and play 2 sets of music and make $1,000,
Oh,
that sort of thing.
True.
And if you look at the grand scheme of things,
Right.
it's harder to manage the money when it's not consistent, because you're always
Yes.
paying things before the money comes. Then when the
Yes.
money comes, it's gone.
Yes.
You know, that sort of thing. But actually, if you look at your annual income, it's
Right.
actually above average
Oh.
for the most part. I really believe that.
Okay.
And because I think when we were having this conversation, we all realized that in our younger years, I think we all made a pretty good amount of money that we had no idea where the money went.
I don't know how to keep track, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, financial literacy is so important, especially for artists, for freelancers.
I just
Yeah.
had an insurance meeting today. I'm like, do I really need insurance? It's okay,
You
like if
do.
I die.
You do. Get it. Don't hesitate. That's so important.
Yeah, I was like, do I really need to spend that money every month? You know, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But healthcare, and then like knowing where your jotting down where your money is coming in from, how you're spending, that kind of thing. I had to learn this.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I am still learning. I'm very guilty of like being really bad with money, especially in my younger years. But now, I mean, I try because I realized. Yeah, because I realized that I mean, I listened to some podcasts about managing your
Which
money. So I listened to Dave Ramsey. He's this American guy who's like pretty old school lah, but he has some legit points. So he was saying that if you don't tell your money where to go, you don't know where it goes. You won't know where it goes.
Right.
So you kind of have to tell it where to go.
Right, and not let it decide, that kind
Correct,
of thing, right?
exactly. Because otherwise you really end up with nothing.
Yeah. No savings, no whatsoever. I'm like, I'm supposed to save 20% of my income. Like, what? I've never had to do this. And then EPF, what? That kind of thing.
I think it's also helpful having discipline is quite hard, I have to admit.
Yes.
But it's quite helpful to remember that if you don't have health insurance, for example, or you don't manage your money well, should anything happen to you, you are not the person in the biggest trouble. The people around you are going to suffer. I think that's just really important to remember.
Right.
Because you get sick and you don't have health insurance, and who's going to have to look after you?
Someone else.
Correct. Your parents or your whoever.
Siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's growing up lah for you. That's adulting.
It's a subscription that we all don't want.
Exactly.
Adulting. Okay, let's go to the next one. Sorry.
Oh, it's one.
One. Okay. Is it a long one?
Oh my god.
What did I ask? What did I write?
What is your best quality? I think my best quality is also my worst quality.
That's what Steve said also.
What?
That's what Steve said also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would like to think that my best and worst quality is probably brutal honesty. I try to hold back a little bit more now that I'm older and wiser and don't want to pick fights so much.
I remember those days.
That was a bit too much. I was a lot too much.
Well, people change. And
Yeah.
Why do you think it's your worst quality and also your best quality?
I mean, I suppose it's my best quality because I think I will give it to you whether you like to hear it or not.
Right.
Yeah, and how you take it is really, it's on you lah. It's up to you.
Right.
Yeah, but I think it's also my worst because then it gets me into a lot of trouble.
Right.
I get a lot of backlash for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, back then when I was a lot more public with it. Now I just mostly get my parents telling me to stop.
During your workplace?
I mean, sometimes when we have lunch, they're just like, you can tell they have this. Why you have to say so much? Why you always have to? Why you so opinionated?
Why cannot? Right, and then and how like we talked about it like just now, sometimes what we think and how it may hurt other people's feelings and we don't even know about it. So the consequences are like they said, the backlash and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But I think at the same time, we also need more honesty and more that comes from good intentions to
Yeah.
try to bring everybody up. Like, I don't think people try to hurt each other intentionally unless you're really like this evil person lah. So do listen. I think I will listen to comments and like criticisms and things like that. If you take the time to come and tell me, I will say thank you and then analyze it. Whether I take it,
Process it in your own time. Basically.
yeah. Not to be a people pleaser, but I appreciate you coming to talk to me and like telling me lah. Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Right,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, okay, win-win lah, you know.
Yeah.
At least I got something, and you also.
Yeah.
Okay. Next,
One more.
let's do. How are we doing on time? Oh, okay. Let's do 2 more.
Ooh, take a small one. Oh wait, it's just folded differently. It's the same size.
Oh no. Oh, is it half? Is it
It's
cut in
half.
half? Okay, let me see if I can remember the.
Why am I getting like?
Oh, the philosophical one. It chose you. Okay, so this one is if you can only leave one thing behind, what would it be?
I've never really thought about it, you know.
It can be work, it can be whatever that you want to leave behind.
Oh, this is super tough.
I'm sorry. We can come back to this if you want. But what was the first thing that popped into your mind?
Nothing came into my mind. I was like, what do I have to leave behind? Don't think I have much. Probably money for my parents.
That could be. Yeah.
I think ideally, in an ideal world, I would want to leave the people around me a bit more enlightened, if that makes sense.
Yes,
Maybe
please
even
explain. Yeah.
It doesn't, and it probably won't. The enlightenment won't come from me because obviously I'm not at that level to enlighten anybody.
Right.
But I think just making people more aware of like it could be anything like current issues or what the world is generally struggling with and things like that. And I mean, I've always been very big on trying to change people's mindsets.
It's difficult.
It's
so
really difficult. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say what I think of my mindset is correct? Obviously, it's very subjective. But I think wherever I can, I generally just want to try to stop people from hating on things that don't actually require your hate.
Right.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Completely understand. Like when you talk about enlightenment, is it in like the Buddhist sense? Like
No, I think it's a bit different.
okay.
So I'm talking about like, let's say, because in music, for example, we are very used to having, let's say, gay friends.
Yeah.
If I may say this.
Yeah, of course.
But when I started, of course, hanging out with other people, non-musicians, then you actually realize that there is still this whole pool of people, and we're all millennials, but who still cannot accept things like that.
Yeah. Why?
So that's very strange to me.
Yeah.
I understand if you're an older generation and that's not what you're used to.
Right.
But as a millennial, you know, in your early 20s,
Yeah.
how can you have so much hate for people that don't even affect your lives in any way?
Right. Or people who are just different from you.
Correct. So I think that's what I mean by enlightenment. So like when I hear people say really crappy things about, you know, issues like this, situations like this, then it really irks me. I mean, I try very hard not to like slam the table and
Yeah.
curse at them.
Yeah.
And I mostly just want to try to make them understand
Right.
that ultimately we are pretty much the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just different skin color. That's it.
Correct.
Yeah, our blood is the same. Okay, we have hair. You don't have two nose and I have one. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely feel that. Yeah, but that's another topic on its
Correct,
own
yeah.
already. Yeah. So impact lah, I would say. Would you say?
Yeah, in however small a circle, I suppose. I mean, I feel like if everybody could impact the circle around them, then that actually makes a big difference.
Yes. And it's
Yeah.
like a ripple effect, like
Exactly. Because one person gets enlightened, then they go on to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are always very passionate when the idea is new to them.
Yup.
So that's like the best time for them to go out.
Yes, spread the gospel. Oh no. Now we know how they work, right? Yeah.
So clear.
Anyways, now one last one.
Ooh.
Okay.
Let's go with this one. Ooh.
Is it simple one?
Groove or harmony?
You got that one.
I would say 200% groove. Groove is so
Yeah?
important. Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I think
Right.
even if, let's say, in an a cappella
Yeah.
setting, you still need groove
Mm.
for it to sound good and feel good. Actually, even if it
Yeah.
sounds pretty, like there's really no point if it doesn't feel good.
Right.
So I think groove is like, there's no question. No
There's-
question.
Okay. So are there any other things that you want to share, and also maybe a little tip for because I don't see you as much, in like I love going out for gigs and watching and things like that.
I should lah. I should
Yeah.
make an effort. So guilty.
Yeah, and then I'll come to climbing with you.
Deal.
So what would you do you have any parting words for maybe parents or non-musicians who are watching this, and they see you as like, oh, maybe like my daughter or my son could do something like this. Yeah.
So I think for parents who are especially worried that if your kid goes down this road, they'll make no money and end up living off you for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I think that's a really huge stereotype, and it's really not true.
Yes.
It really isn't true.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like I said, the biggest problem with freelancing is always managing your finances.
Yeah.
But once you get that down, and I think that you can instill from a really young age, that's really important. So once you get that down, actually, if anything, I think in Malaysia, the money is really good
Yes.
in comparison to other countries, even neighboring like Singapore
Yeah.
or Thailand, US, no need to say. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the money here is actually really good as
Yeah.
a working musician.
Yep.
And a lot of companies are also very big on their CSR,
Don't know.
as in their, I don't know what, corporate social responsibility.
Oh, the budget.
So no, it's like they will always set a budget to give back to the community,
Oh.
basically, because that's quite a huge thing here. So
Okay.
it's actually really easy to get funding. So
Ah.
that brings me to the last point.
Yes.
Which I feel is a really huge problem here with musicians. It's a bigger problem than the financial literacy. Is that a lot of people don't know how to see themselves and treat themselves as a business.
Yes.
Yeah. Because once you do, you realize that the horizons really is so wide. Yeah, it really opens up a lot. And it's very hard for people to take you seriously if you don't take yourself seriously.
Yes.
If you're just, I just sing. Or
Right.
I just play guitar like that lah.
Right.
Why would you don't give me
Invest
reason
in
to invest in you, to
Yes.
hire you.
Yes.
I have no confidence in that.
Right.
So I think as long as you get that down, financial management and learning how to treat yourself and see yourself as a business.
Right.
So meaning you cannot think, I was very guilty of this, like, oh, this is just a small gig, I'll go on stage without my makeup, I'll just wear whatever I want.
Right.
But every little thing
Counts.
counts.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
you don't know who's out there, who's watching you for that specific day,
True.
you know.
True.
So I think it's really important not to go on stage and be super slicky and
I think we've all been through that lah, you know.
We have,
It's like,
I'm sure.
it's just an open mic. Let me just wear my hoodie up and be cozy, you know, like that was all.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think with anything, with any field, there are a lot of opportunities, but of course in this modern world today, you just really have to learn to evolve and follow where the market goes. Yeah, so that as long as you do that, actually there's a lot of money to be made here. Yeah,
I realize that now. Right? Yeah. It's a lot easier here, and well, maybe because it's my home and I have friends, you know, like our community is also pretty small. So it was like I can breathe a little bit, whereas like it's quite difficult.
because you know that people will, in a way, there'll always be people that have your back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because we have such a small community, it's like, okay, I know you, I see you, let's do this together, or you know, let's connect, that kind of thing. Yeah, and I view it as a very positive thing, and I don't know, I have a lot of hope for our scene. What do you think?
I mean, I've been away from it for a while because I only go when I work.
Right.
So, but of course, I think there is a lot of talent here. There's zero doubt about that. But then it really comes down to whether or not they can see this as a business.
Manage it well.
Like getting funding. You know, I speak to a lot of people and they're always like, oh, but no money. I'm like, okay, so how about you go and try and get funding?
Right.
And they're like, oh, but ask from who? Don't know how.
So
if you don't know, then
go?
ask. Go and ask, how do I do it? You know, how do I do a proposal? How do I write my CV? How do I
make yourself a brand?
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
So it really comes down to what you really want.
And actually also our government has a lot of like fund, not a lot, but like they do help out Malaysian artists.
Oh yeah? I had no idea about that.
Yeah, I heard this from, I need to recheck the name and things like that.
Okay.
But if you're Malaysian and you're doing arts, like be it music or tarian or film or whatever, they do have a set thing for people like us. So there are avenues, we just need to look for them.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for doing this.
No worries.
It's not so bad, right?
I mean, we'll listen to it later and we'll see what it sounds like.
And then you'll be like, no, cringy.
Yeah, I really hope I didn't come off as like trying to tell people what to do.
No, you're fine. I think you've always been very nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and sorry about the midway interruptions and things like that. If we don't have a video for the first 30 minutes or so, I will upload. You will have different avenues to listen to this. So yeah, and so yeah. All right. Thank you and bye.